What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Mike Diack. I am a master plumber and licensed HVAC contractor in the states of Florida, New York, and South Carolina. I'm about to take you on a service call that we just performed for a new client in Valley Stream, just a few minutes from our shop here in Woodmere, New York. We have a new residential client, just bought the house last year. They're going into their second heating season. It's October. Almost going to be November. He's got some banging pipes and he's concerned about losing water in the boiler. This is a video you're not going to want to miss. It's like there's like a little miniature gremlin in there with a mini, with two wrenches in his hands. And he's just banging away at the pipes. So the banging, as I said before, the banging sounds that we're hearing right now is water violently exploding when steam, which is created by this boiler, hits it. A little drop of water will expand 40,000 times its volume. Now there's deficiencies on this boiler that we spoke about. Number one, this pipe that's coming out of the side. Some boilers come out on the top, some come out of the side, but you have to think about a pot of water on your stove that, let's say it's halfway full. If you, which is what the equivalent of the boiler is, because in the side glass and things like that, the water level being halfway up, right? So when you boil water on your stove, right, and it's boiling, not like a little boil when it first starts to simmer, and think, but when it's boiling, there's a reason why you put a lid on it, because it will spill over. Yep. So now imagine you don't have a lid on the stove, but you have a pipe coming out of the top of that stove. I can guarantee you that you have water boiling up here when the system is running. And if you doubt that, I can show you a video with glass piping on a training model of a boiler. All the piping is made of glass, Pyrex, and you will see when the water's boiling, it goes up high. So there's a reason why the dead men who put this in over a century ago, they learned from their mistakes, right? There's a reason why in the manuals of these steam boilers, the installation manual, you have that first pipe that comes out of the top of it cannot be any lower than 18 inches off the top of the boiler. Because when it is lower than that, water, steam, violently exploding will get up there. And when that happens, you risk having much more wet steam, which you don't want. You want dry steam. But you also risk having some of that water entering into the piping. That steam is also pushing with it as well. Because steam, once it's at 212 degrees, obviously, right? But it travels at the pressure of a normal residential boiler at around 45 miles an hour, running through these pipes. That's fast, right? So imagine you got hit, you got hit by a car at 45 miles an hour, and you're standing on the side of the street. It's gonna hurt, right? Same way. That's the water violence. That's the water violence exploding because of where it shouldn't be. Granted, this boiler has been installed for 20 plus years, probably. Granted, we got some problems with the flame roll in the past, but based on what I've seen and what we've documented over the last half hour, we have fairly good combustion results. We have the proper amount of oxygen, the proper amount, a low amount of carbon monoxide, and our CO2 levels are also good. But at one point of this boiler, we had flame roll and that's evident by that charredness on the outside combustion cover. On the inside, you have the carbon soot that I showed you. Mm-hmm. But like I was saying earlier, every boiler, every installation is like a painting. You have a blank canvas with a mission to paint this Picasso or paint this Mona Lisa, right? Every time that artist does it, or if there's 10 different artists, you're gonna have 10 different versions of that. It may look similar, but it'll be slight variations to it. Right. Here, I don't know who installed it, but this needs to come up to here. Eventually, you'll be replacing this boiler. I know you only lived here a year, but eventually you'll be a time when you have to replace this boiler. Yeah. Maybe 20 years from now, whenever it is. When that's done and you still have steam, and if it's still legal to have gas in the United States, right? That will come up. And if you look at some of, you said you saw my videos on YouTube, you look at some of our steam boiler installations, I take that one pipe or two pipes, depending on the size of the boiler and size of the home, I go up as high as possible, usually above my head if possible, and then I loop back around. So I'll come up the top of the boiler, and I'll create like an upside down trap.
Yeah, I saw
right?
that.
And then you have this much higher pipe, but it goes up. So you know there's no way that water's getting up here. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing. Number two, I'm creating what we call a drop header. So as I come back down, any water that made its way up here, is no way it's going to go up to the steam mains. You have two of them here. One here, one there. There's no way it's going to make its way up there because I'm going to come up, I'm going to loop back around, come here, and then connect to the boiler. This is called the Equalizer, which is what this is here. Which is, just for reference, this is 2 inch. This is 1 inch, which is also this 1 inch copper. This pipe from leaving here to there is called the Equalizer. You want to have equal pressure on the outlet side and the inlet side of the boiler just for harmony of steam. There's more technical reasons behind that, but I don't want to confuse you. But this pipe shall never be more than one pipe size less than what the steam header is. Because if you do, listen, you know what? Path of least resistance. You know, if I had that 2 inch going to there, you know for a fact that this pressure and that pressure is going to be the same. Okay. When I start downsizing things, that's when you have problems. So imagine if this pipe came up, let's say even went up this high, and forget about the loop around the drop header. If I came up this high and I had a T here and T here, the chances of water getting up here while it's boiling is there, but it's much less than what is here. I know it sounds crazy, but you have water here. Yeah. And you don't want to really have that amount of water because the water level right now is kind of low, right? It's there, and it's normally there, and there's the sticker water level. But we've been running this thing for a while, and listen, steam is being made, being produced. So. But what most important is the safety of your family and the occupants of this house. Yeah. And I am a firm believer, and if you said you watch my YouTube videos, I say this every so often, what good is a functional boiler if it's not functioning safely? And if you're not testing, right, you're guessing on what it could be doing. Like, if I was an untrained individual and I saw that, I was like, oh, that looks wrong, right? Obviously, that was heated up. But unless I test the equipment, with tools to do the job, we don't know. I can be very confident that if, God forbid, this exhaust pipe was no longer connected to this boiler, or, you see what this is, right? Yeah. That's called a horizontal diverter. See what this is? This is also a diverter, but this is a diverter to allow combustion gases to go up because you need to have draft, and this allows that to occur. Same way that does. But imagine if your chimney was collapsed upon itself. Where are those gases going? Out there, right?
Back down?
And back down to your basement. So God forbid that were to happen, you would never know, right? Because the carbon monoxide detectors you have in your home go off at 400 ppm, parts per million, in 4 to 15 minutes. But I'm at 30. Yes, it's still carbon monoxide poisoning that's in the air, but with that amount, you're never going to know. Okay, you heard the noise it just made? You know what that is? Yes, it's an automatic water feeder. This is by McDonald Miller, the same company who makes that. It's the WFE24. It's a 24-volt automatic feeder. When the low water cutoff senses a low water condition, it turns off the boiler. And on newer systems, there's a delay because everything's electronic. And it allows the system time to catch up if it lost water too quickly. If it condenses back into water, there's your annoying water banging sounds again. So when it condenses back into water, sometimes that delay will be suffice and not let it overfill. But here you lost water. So the question, you heard that noise. You were here last winter, first winter in the house. How often did you hear that? In a day, week, month?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
All right. One thing we're going to check for, I know it's a little bit warm out today. Let's look at the top of the chimney, see if we see anything.
All right, we are outside. There is the top of the chimney. We have a chimney cap there. We have a partly cloudy day, but you can see there's actually nothing coming out of the top of this chimney. If during the winter you see white puffs of clouds coming out of your chimney like smoke, let's say you see it in your neighbors and you live in a steam neighborhood, you see white clouds coming out of your chimney or your neighbor's chimney, that's steam leaving the chimney, leaving the boiler, going up the chimney and heating the atmosphere. And you'll need a new boiler. So ladies and gentlemen, if you live in the Long Island, New York City metropolitan area and you're tired of getting bamboozled by your plumber or HVAC contractor, give me a call at 516-348-6300 or 516-295-2448. We'd love to help you. We're a family-owned and operated business for almost 25 years. Can't wait to help you and pick up the phone. Call now.